Hello YouTube, sorry for the glare. Camera screwed up. But anyway, last year I made a video on a different channel talking about the things that I like and dislike about my Volkswagen Passat Limited. And I've decided to redo it, but this time make it a bit shorter and focus on the points that matter versus the ones that are to be dismissed. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the things I like about it. Obviously, the styling, that's undisputable. Just about everyone commemorates the Passat for its styling. It's conservative, but has a nice look to it. I've even heard a Passat owner tell me that it reminds them of an Audi. And I could see that at least from the side with it. It's got a little bit of the A6 thing going on with the windows and such. Considering the A6 is also a mid-sized sedan. Personally, I like the 17-inch Sonoma wheels on this car. I think these are the best wheels to have on a Passat. I've seen other ones, but personally, these are the ones I enjoy the best. I'm glad I have them on here. Alright, next thing I like, which is under the hood. 1.8-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 170 horsepower, 185 pound-feet of torque. It is by no means slow, first of all. It's definitely not slow. The only time it's slow is if there's a lot of, there's turbo lag. Which, living in a peninsula covered by the Atlantic coastal region, that's sort of expected. But even then, it's no slouch. It's got plenty of power, just enough so that if you need to pass somebody, you can achieve it without issue. Also, while returning respectable fuel mileage. I average about 27 to 28 miles per gallon with this thing, which even in 2020 is still respectable. Of course, according to automotive journalists, they'd say, oh, well, it should be like 35, but I mean, it's not a freaking hybrid here. It's also a very dependable engine. It's not like the old 1.8Ts from the early 2000s that had all sorts of problems. I think had an issue with them blowing up or something or catching fire. This is very much improved and a lot more reliable versus the old one. And the engine itself I've had no issues with as far as I'm concerned. It's worked great the whole 2 years I've had this car. Alright. Next thing. Trunk space. And there's plenty of it. I do have some crap back here. That pillow's for if I'm on a very long trip. And I have an old steering cover that I don't use anymore. This is something that obviously doesn't come with the car. My dad got that for me. But check out this trunk space. It's not tall, obviously, but it's very deep. You can fit a nice, a few suitcases in here. And if you need to do a pretty nice-sized grocery shopping trip thingamajig, you can do that. Put all sorts of stuff in here. I definitely enjoy that very much. Speaking of space, it's another great thing with this car. There's space all over. I believe in the mid-size class, the Passat still tops the cake as far as the best amount of space. It's got plenty of it. My seat's a little further forward, but you can see my legs, feet, they're not even touching the rear part of the front seat. There's plenty of space back here. Could easily fit 4 people in here. And everyone will be very happy. There's plenty of space between me and if somebody else was sitting over here. No problems. Here, this seat here is a little further back. I mean, I'm about 5'8" or so it's not, I'm not that tall. But look at this. Plenty of freaking room back here. You also have a little storage space for whatever you want to put in there. And another thing I like is the comfort of the front and rear seats. Leatherette material, it's very durable, and it's comfortable. I don't feel uncomfortable back here whatsoever. I could easily fall asleep back here and won't be an issue at all. Let's go check out the front. I'm going to do it from the passenger seat. Another thing I like, you can hear the closing of the door, is it's decently insulated in here. So on the highway, I mean, you do hear some road noise and a little bit of wind noise, but it's not excessive by any means. It's still a pretty quiet ride. You can have a conversation in here and be able to hear the other person. And obviously another thing I like is the styling of the interior. You know, you have your analog clock there. You have a pretty nice steering wheel. I do have a cover on there. But, you know, it's not overly complicated. It's pretty simple. So when you step in here, it's not really going to make you have a heart attack. I definitely do enjoy that very much. And like I said, the comfort as well is great in both rows of seats. Another thing I enjoy definitely is the ride. It's definitely on the softer side, and it's, you know, it's great for a highway trip, especially with that 1.18 the under the hood. So yeah, those are the things that I like about it. The things I don't like about it, well, I'm not a fan of the transmission, just because it's a little bit jerky. You know, I mean, it's not even a DSG, and it's, you know, it's kind of jerky at lower speeds. Not a fan of that. I'm also not a fan of the touchy brakes. 2 years, I still can't get used to them. You know, just, I mean, it's kind of strange. I'm also not a fan of the variable assist steering, because it's kind of over assisted, going at higher speeds through some turns. You know, it's a little over assisted. You know, at low speeds, like 10 miles an hour, something like that, it's very light. You know, you want to maneuver through a parking lot, that kind of thing. And then at higher speeds, it's like extremely tight. Like, it really tightens up. It's not even a kind of, you know, tightening up that feels good, saying, you know, like any sports car, really, where the steering is tight and it feels good when it's tightened. This kind of tightened is like, I don't know, it just, I'm not a fan of it too much. I'm also not a fan of this disgusting looking silver / grayish trim. My wish is to eventually get that changed out for the forward trim that you can find in the SEL models. And honestly, I think that'd make things look a lot nicer in here versus this trim. I don't think it fits in here. I personally don't think it fits. Yes, I know I have a wood style steering wheel cover, but still, I don't know. Another thing I'm not such a fan of in this car is the infotainment system. It works, although it takes up to 20 seconds for Bluetooth to connect. It's definitely it's got some, you know, much older technology in there, probably from the late 2000s. I'm also not a fan of when you switch it to media, let's say from, you know, the radio. You know, let's say I want to switch directly over to Bluetooth. Now, I could turn on autoplay. The problem is every time my phone gets a notification or something, or let's say I, you know, turn the phone on by accident, you know, it switches. Let's say I want to listen to the CDs, it switches automatically over to Bluetooth. So I'm not a fan of that. Um, Other than that, I don't really think there's much else that I can complain about. Well, I will say that the doors, I mean, they're a heavier to mid-size sedan, so being on an incline, they tend to close on you, which isn't, you know, it's not a fan of that either. I know, oh yeah, I know this applies to, for a certain time this applied to all Volkswagens, but the fact that the cruise control is in a turn stalk, I know people say it's convenient. I get why VW did it, you know, and also, also to clear up the steering wheel here. But honestly, it's kind of annoying. I have to hold the turn stalk completely so I don't activate it by accident in order to screw around with the cruise control. Uh, Other than that, I don't think there's anything else that I can complain about, really. So there's my video for you. Hope it wasn't too long, and see you in the next one. And sorry if I can't speak English. My speech, I got a speech impediment. Okay, see you later.